the peanut allergies. They got that. So it's, back in the day, they had a dude, you would find a dude at the circus with a peanut allergy. They would find that dude. They would give him a couple handfuls of peanuts and then send that bitch running through a ring of fire, baby. While people in the crowd sang, "For those about to rock." Now it's just, they find a dude with a peanut allergy, right? They put him in a hazmat suit. They have him run and jump through a ring of peanuts into his two mothers' arms. So I'm just coming to town. I just saw that. I don't know if there's any circus lovers, but the circus is back. And when I was a child, the circus was a big thing. You had a couple times throughout the year, you'd get this little ticket at school, and it'd say on it, circus at the top. And it'd say like Willie's Circus, or Risky Rick's Circus, And it would say like admit one, just on this ticket. You could get it anywhere. So they were just giving out free tickets, And it would be like, this petting zoo fucking rocks, it would say, or something like that on the back. Or where petting zoos go to fuck. It would say shit like, that's a lot. But it was a big deal back then when the circus came. Because you'd see them setting up in that big top, that tent. And they'd wheel all animals in there. And some of the animals, they'd been through a lot. They'd look like they'd maybe just gotten back from war or something, World War II or something. Some of them missing an ear, or have a fake ear. They'd have an elephant, but then one of his ears, they'd have just two, they'd put a damn potted plant in the hole over there, and you'd have a damn elephant ear plant growing out of the side, and they'd paint that bitch gray over there. You'd see a guy on a ladder just painting that elephant, just painting a big plant ear gray, just trying to line it all up, and they put a big bow tie on him, call him Big Ginger or whatever. Spray paint red hair on his back. It was just, you'd see a giraffe, but that bitch had a short neck on him. You're like, God. You'd see a damn giraffe, he was 4'4", and that bitch was just, pissed too. Pissed. It almost looked like if you tickled him the right way, his neck would just, get to the right size. He was just like that wide neck. Remember that fella Wide Neck that was running around? He was a, kind of an African-American, like, running back that only played drugs or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have a sport. And that was the circus, and it meant something. You were excited about it. And you'd talk about it at school, and you'd go over there. And I just saw the flyer. They had a new one. It was called the Circus. It's like it kind of had looked like a Cirque du Soleil circus kind of, it just looked like a rave for children, kind of. They had a couple damn drones out there. Palantir just shooting popcorn into kids' mouths and stuff. Just, it had a different sort of etiquette to it. And I don't even know if they had any animals. They had a couple of kind of gender-neutral dudes just kind of whistling in each other's mouths type of deal. They had a blind fella just singing Fred Again lyrics and stuff. It's just gotten very progressive. It feels like the circus. They used to have real animals. You'd go out there, you'd see a couple monkeys out there. And you're over there, and one of them be smoking for you. And they, you get you 50 cents over there. Go visit that smoking monkey. See if he'll ash on your mama's back, or something. And they had long arms. They'd ash in a baby carriage or something like that. It was, it was more involved. They let the animals live a little. And they used to have real lions too. They'd have, they had back then they had real lions. Now you got a couple of hardy women over there wearing Aiden Hutchinson jerseys. So mental health is important to me, right? It's important to me. We talk about that kind of stuff on here a lot. And hold on. And yeah, I think it's been something that we talk about a great deal and just think about and kind of explore, right? So I had a comedy special that we were taping. We were taping it last week, and about a month before I quit taking some antidepressants I was taking. I just kind of self-weaned myself off. And the reason why was because I wanted, like during the comedy show, I wanted to have a little bit more emotion during it. I wanted to have this kind of like, I just wanted to have some more feelings. You know, if you ever taken antidepressants, or if you haven't, it kind of takes away your feelings, kind of. You know, so you just kind of stay in this space where you're okay. And it's nice. It's a safe space, but you don't, you're like the astronaut that kind of stays on the ship sometimes. And you get to do the thumbs up and shit, but other dudes are like, you know, other people are out there. Anyway, so I quit taking my medication because I wanted to have a little bit more feelings during the show. I wanted to be able to talk about stuff a little bit more that meant something to me and put it into the comedy show. So that was all going fine, right? I was doing fine with that. We're headed into the comedy show, and then the Department of Homeland Security put a video up online talking about they started making like trap beat edits and like banger edits to evicting people from the country, right? Or eliminating illegals, maybe some criminals, some people just undocumented, all, you know, just across the spectrum, right? So they put a video of mine that I'd made for somebody in a parking lot, probably like maybe a year and a half ago, just jokingly. I think it was a year and a half ago. They put it in at the front of this Department of Homeland Security, like trap beat. I think they had like, I'm not sure if they had like young boy lyrics or whatever they had, but it was ridiculous. And the video was a girl had walked up to me in a parking lot and she had said, "Hey, my friend just got deported. What do you have to say? Do you have a message?" I can't remember what it was. And I was just like, "Bye." You know, and I didn't know if it was real or not. I had no idea. I was just joking around. It's a stranger came up to me in a parking lot. I think it was after a show, and there were some people gathered around, and we were just kind of like BSing and taking pictures and just kind of associating, right? So anyway, long story short, that happens. So this video goes mega viral, 25 million, 30 million views. It's everywhere. And the front of that Homeland Security video, it's on the White House thing. It's on everything. It's everywhere. And the first 10 seconds of it are me, right? Like, I don't have anything to do with this shit. Nobody asked me about it. You know, like nobody said, "Hey, this is going to happen." Like, and I have a lot of different thoughts about immigration, right? They're like showing people getting arrested. Like, it's just an intense thing. Like, and why is the government even making these? I don't know. But that's where we're at in the world. And I have a lot of thoughts about immigration, right? I have a ton of them. And we don't need to go into them all right now. I've talked about them on other episodes. I feel like they're doing a lot of bookkeeping in the country right now because we're going to get into a surveillance state and everyone is going to have to be on the books, right? So that's where I believe that we're headed. But this was just wild, you know, and people are like sending messages and like hateful stuff. And, you know, you think all these illegals should, and all this type of shit. And like, I could talk to you ad nauseum about that, but this wasn't the time for it. It just was something that they used and put out there and everybody saw, right? So I'm getting a ton of hateful stuff and I'm trying to remember everything. I'm trying to kind of remember everything right now. And, but this video goes everywhere and I'm getting like a lot of like, dude, what the fuck? Just all kind of shit, right? Like my phone just blowing, like, what the hell? It's just like the last thing I needed, right? There's a week left to this special, and this happens. You know, this thing comes out. And my father immigrated here from Nicaragua, right? Like one of my prized possessions is I have his immigration papers when he came here. And I have them in a frame and him and his siblings when they came here. And so I have tons of thoughts about it, but this was just fucked up, right? It was fucked up. And it was everywhere. It was like on all platforms and stuff. So that had me really kind of paranoid. You know, that had me start to get kind of paranoid and, you know, like closing, like, you know, I had the curtains in my house kind of closed. I was just like, you know, you're paranoid. I woke up the next morning. Sorry, I need some water. I woke up the next morning to a text from a high government official saying, hey, if you need some extra security in your neighborhood or some extra police cars on patrol, let me know. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Extra security? I don't have any, I don't even know the code to my Ring camera. I don't even know how to log in. So it's like, and what, you're just going to put police cars in my neighborhood? What are my neighbors going to think? Now they're fearful. It just I don't know, man. That really kind of shook me. It really kind of shook me. But you keep marching on, and you start getting security. The shows, right? We're there, and it's a lot, It's a lot. There's a lot of last minute choices to be made. It seemed to go messier than the past specials that I'd taped, right? It seemed to be a lot more confusion, and it all could have been just kind of my perception, right? Because what started to happen was on this day, I was starting to feel a little bit I don't know if manic is the word. I don't know what manic means. I've said manic, but I don't manic meaning. Let me see. What does it mean when someone is manic? Oh, it says trying to meet mans. That's the first one. This is fucking, see, this is how bad shit's gotten. You're trying to figure out if you have some sort of an anxiety disorder. And next thing you know, you're getting damn emails from a local men's bar or whatever. It is defined as an extremely unstable, euphoric, or irritable mood along with an excessive activity or energy level. Okay. Excessively rapid thought and speech. I probably could have used a little more of that. So I think I started to feel kind of mildly manic. I think it was just being off the medication. I think, and it wasn't insane. It was just little things. The second I got on stage, the first show, I couldn't feel any moisture in my mouth. And I started to feel you ever remember that feeling if you were in high school and you got high and then you were standing there talking to your friends and you were just too high and you were just literally standing there just trying to pretending to be yourself a little bit? So I had a little bit of that going on. And it started off choppy. The first show, it started off kind of choppy. We were doing a new intro with Joey Diaz at the last minute, and he was pretty goomed up. He's Coco, and it was a blessing that he was there, but we hadn't ran through it. And so it's just a lot of things at the last minute. But yeah, I'm on stage, and the second half of the first show went good. And there were some beats that I got that had an emotional piece to them that I wanted, and that felt exciting. But the whole show, it was there were parts where I just couldn't remember the next thing. I couldn't remember my next sequence. I was having trouble just keeping track of stuff. And that's when I really was oh man, I'm just off tonight. I just, it had just I'm just off tonight. And I think I remember saying to the audience, thank you guys just for being here for me, and the audience was cool, man. People were happy to be there. They were super stoked when I came out. I started to feel bad that I wasn't giving them the best show, but the show ended up going a little bit long, blah, blah, blah. We get to halftime or in between the two shows, and Chris Rock is backstage. He's there. My favorite, right? I see Chris Rock smile and you just feel it's going to be good. It's almost like when, somebody that was good in class at making a good joke, and then you see him and you're oh, the Michael Jordan has arrived, that thing, so anyway, seeing him, and it kind of I was almost way so excited about seeing him. I was very excited, but then I realized I was kind of overexcited. He enjoyed the show. And so I went into the second show feeling okay, I got to figure some of this out. I couldn't tell if people were being legit, okay, was it good? Was it bad? What was going on? And then I took an ice bath between the shows. I was doing my yoga, the same usual stuff I do. Anyway, sorry, I know this is getting long, but, and then we did the second show, and the second show started out fire. First 22 minutes, we're cooking. And then I just I couldn't remember stuff. And we didn't put a teleprompter. We've done it for other specials. We didn't do it. And that was a bad choice. I don't know if I probably made the choice for sure. I don't remember. But so I had to ask for help. You know, I was like having to ask off stage because I wanted to get everything in sequence. You know, and I think I got stuck on this like sequence thing. And it was just hard, man. It just, you know, I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was trying to kind of pretend to be myself. And it wasn't insane or extreme. It just, that was it. And we got to the end of the show and we were standing around afterwards with the producers and the director, my friend Kevin, and just like, did we get it? You know, did we get it? Excuse me. Did we get it good enough? You know, because I want this special to be, you know, you do the material for so long. And my buddy Neil Brennan said this the other day before it. He said, I got hair in my eyes today. He said, dude, this is the last time you'll ever spend with this material. You know, it's really the last time you'll probably ever do it. And this material's it's been a friend to me over the years. It's been, you know, it's taken me around the world. You know, it's gotten me to see a lot of people that love me and that I love. So that was just a neat sentiment of a way to like embrace the material and stuff. But I was just at the end of the night, I was like, I don't know if we got it. And they're like, yeah, well, let's edit together something and see. And I was like, okay, but I couldn't feel the magic, you know, I just was off. I went up by the stage at the end of each show and was like taking pictures of people that were sitting there. And that's when there was a clip of me, which I think this is what made things ridiculous. Where in passing, I just was like, or I don't know if it was in passing. I haven't seen the clip, honestly, and I haven't been online. I woke up the next day to like a bunch of things like, bro, what's up? Or things like that. And I was like, oh my God, you know, what's going like, did I steal somebody's horse? Did I hit somebody with a vehicle? You know, I have no idea. You know, it was just kind of alarming. And then a buddy of mine sent me a clip and I could just see the outside. And it was like, you could see me on stage. And then people were asking me about suicide. And I was like, oh God, you know. And I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I can certainly see me saying something like, oh, just try not to take my own life, you know. Which I understand it's not a joke to some people, right? It's not a joke to me. But it is something that I'll say stuff sometimes. I say stuff, right? You know that. If you've listened to this show before or seen anything, you know I say stuff. I would never take my own life. I would never take my own life. Okay? You hear that, Israel? I would never take my own life. I'm grateful to God for his grace in my life. I love my siblings. I have so many friends and people that love me and people that I want to see their children grow up. I'm hopeful that I get to have a wife and meet my own children one day. Like there's a ton of things in my life that keep me alive and hopeful, right? I want to be able to have an impact in the world. Those are just a few of them probably, you know? I mean, so many just moments we've shared on this show that I'm like, oh, I live for those things, you know? I mean, I want to see Vandy win a championship. So I'm going to have to be alive for a long time on his phone. And that's his trick. And he'll smoke a Virginia Slim right there and hit that bitch. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, what I'm saying is, bitch, I'm out there. I'm in the ring, bro. And I failed so many times. You could write what you want, big dog. Write what you want. It wasn't perfect, man. I'll agree to that. And if I've gotten so used to times I have failed, it's okay. I eat failure for breakfast, but you fill me up with failure flakes over the years, kids. And it's okay, man. That's part of the job. The first 10 years of doing comedy is failure. So much of my life, the best things that have ever happened on my life have been on the other side of failure. And yeah, it would be great if one day we could all live in a space where we all, we lived in a neighborhood where everybody, when they went out in the world, they was potentially going to fail, boy. We riding right on the edge, baby. And that we admired that about each other. So anyway, I'm not looking to like downplay it or make it, we might reshoot it again. We'll see what happens. And that's it, Because if you're not on that risk of failing, I don't know what I'm going to be. If I'm not on that risk of failing, I don't know what I'm going to be. It's like a bulb, a plant bulb. If you saw, like a plant bulb is kind of brave, right? Like a floral bulb, right? Because if he just stays a bulb, he's just that little green little monster, right? That little nugget. But when he blasts open, and another thing that happened, I didn't even tell anybody this, but I went to the doctors like a couple weeks ago. This was like, I think 2 days after the Charlie Kirk shooting. I went to the doctors, and I'm in the doctor room, and it's just me and a nurse, and she comes in, and I'm talking about, I got to get a checkup and everything where they do your nuts or whatever, and so we're talking about body and everything, and talking about genitals or whatever, right? And body. And so we have this conversation, and then the nurse, she says, and she's like, hey, I brought something for you. And I'm like, huh? And she's like, I brought something for you. And it really spooked me, bro, because I'm in a doctor's office, right? This is a place where you think you can be safe. And man, that was a tough moment. My mom was in town. And after that, I remember sitting in my car with her, and I kind of got a little teared up because I was like, oh man, no place is kind of safe anymore, And the girl just wanted to do something nice, right? I think she wanted to give me something, I don't know. But it was just that invasiveness of like, man, this is like supposed to be a very private place. And I mentioned it to the doctor. And then I even, I made sure that the nurse didn't feel like bad. She's just trying to be a nice person. I believe that her motives were in a good place. I don't hold any ill will against her. But it was just like, I don't know, there was just a lot of little things that were adding up to stress. And so, what's up, Tom, brother? Thank you for calling, man. Well, thank you for calling back. Onward.
I just want to thank you again for everything that you do, just for being real, for not being too good for anybody. And this hotline, bro, I'm sure it means a lot to a lot of people. I lost my son 1.5 years ago to suicide. And it was tough, man. I still have nightmares and visions of just seeing that, finding that, and I don't know, man, it's hard to talk about, but I found your show about, I'd say 4 months after that happened. And when I tell you that you gave me a reason to laugh for the first time since it happened, you did, bro. And I got to say that being an addict and being clean for the last 5.5 years, it would have been real easy to use as an excuse to go back. But I didn't. And I truly believe that God, number one, and just being able to laugh again kept me free. And I feel like honestly saved my life, brother. And I appreciate it. I love you. I love what you do. Thank you for everything.
Praise God, man. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, brother. I'm so sorry to hear about your son. I bet he misses you, and I bet he loves you. and they may not even have feelings over there where you miss people. I bet it's just pure love. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't even, there's not a word I could give you, you know, except that I'm happy to hear your voice today, you know, and thanks. Thank you for letting me be a part of your laughter. You know, sometimes when I'm like in pain and stuff, I won't even let people make me laugh. Kind of, it's like, you know, that stuff when you're like young or something's rough and you want to laugh, and it's like, you won't let somebody make you laugh. It's like almost out of posterity and stuff. But man, thank you, bro. Thank you just for sharing that story today and for letting us have a moment to remember him. I don't even know what he looks like, you know, but I'm just going to remember a sweet soul that loved his father and that was trying his best in the world. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. He feels like a neat kid. So thank you so much, Tom, for sharing that with us today. Let's hear another call. We'll take one more here. What do we got here?
Hey, what's up, Theo? My name is Lane.
What's up, Lane, baby? And you hear a lot about that Lane, baby. The HOV lane, brother, that threesome, huh? Let's hear more about it.
And I just want to call in and give my son a shout out. His name is Theo. He's 3 years old, and he's finishing chemo for the second time. And I just want to
Let's go. Let me catch his name again.
I just want to call in and give my son a shout out. His name is Theo. He's 3 years old, and he's finishing chemo for the second time. And I just want to ask for a prayer, brother. You know, a prayer that shit don't come back. Prayer from the community. And yeah, shout out to my wife for holding us down through this hard time. And I want to speak into existence that, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna do some stand-up comedy. You know, you've been a big inspiration, so shout out to you too, Theo. Peace.
Oh, well, thank you for the call, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm sorry. I'm glad your son is being a warrior. You know, I'm glad you're here speaking prayer towards your son. I'm glad you're requesting prayer. I'm glad that you're reminding us it's okay to call others and ask for prayer and ask for energy. You know, God, we forget that. I forget that all the time. Yeah, I'll say a prayer right now. God, we lift up Mateo to you, and just keep his smile hopeful, and keep him cancer free, God. And let him have the joy that he wants in the world. And we lift up his mother to you, God, and just all the energy you continue to give her, and all the mothers out there who have to deal with children who are suffering with illnesses. Man, that can be a heavy burden. And we give thanks, God, that in witnessing other people triumph, and witnessing this man witnessing his young son battle through chemotherapy, that it inspires him to go out and do things, that inspires him to take on things that, like if he wants to do comedy, or he wants to sing, or he wants to do a backflip online, or whatever he wants to do, you know, that it inspires him, that it pushes him through any potential failure, you know, because failure is just a little bit of bootleg fear. That's all that shit is. That's all shit. That's aftermarket fear, cut. But God, we lift him up, man. Man, it's inspiring. Isn't it inspiring to see a little 3-year-old fella out there waddling around, ringing that cancer-free bell out there? Him and Randy Moss out there ringing that bitch. That's beautiful, man. And I lift up my buddy MK, man. There's a friend of mine named MK, and his wife and their family is dealing with a lot of tragedy right now. Their brother, her brother got shot. And I don't know even the situation right now, but yeah, I just want to lift him up, God, and just let his heart know that he's not alone, and let her heart know and her brother's heart know that they're not alone, that people are thinking of them. And stories and on the hotline. And I did get back on my medication. I want people to know that. I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. And maybe one day I'll be able to be off of it. I'm going to make sure that I work with a doctor if I think about that again. But one day it would be nice to, be able to kind of have all your feelings, in a manageable way, and to have all of your feelings, So, all right. Thank you guys so much. And man, we got a lot of life to look forward to. I believe that, and I know you do too. And yeah, you guys be good to yourselves. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay? I promise. All right? I'm upstairs. Gang, baby.